visiting Europe as a New Yorker taught me that in my past few videos, you've seen that I've been talking a lot about, work-life balance and hustle culture and, the differences between American lifestyle and European lifestyle. And that's mostly because of, the travels that I've recently been on, from Germany to Ukraine to Romania, I've just been moving all over. And, as I've been making these videos, I feel like I've been a little harsh on the hustle culture that we have here in America. And I want to be a little more lenient, because there are benefits to being a hustler and being a go-getter and working hard. So I want to make this video as a way to not say to leave that ambition behind, because having ambitions and goals, those are all good things, But when you see how Europeans are living and how their lifestyles are, you get more of an adoration for the lax lifestyle that they have. They're able to achieve their happiness with a whole lot less. You can have more fulfilling conversations, more of those small itty bits of life that we probably don't, take time and reflect on as much nowadays. The more that we get more into a globalized society and a more Western society, you don't really appreciate those moments as much. Now, in my last video, you saw that I took a walk through Hudson Yard, which is the wealthiest neighborhood, if not, one of the most wealthiest. I just looked it up and it was like number one on the list of wealthiest neighborhoods in NYC. And we will be taking a trip in those neighborhoods as well. But when I was walking through and I was looking at all the designer brand stores in the mall downstairs, or outlet, whatever they want to call that little area where all the designer stores are. And as I've been watching these, these success videos of these ambitious people that I look up to, not to name names, you guys probably have your own role models, so I don't want to, influence you to watch those videos quite yet. Not that my word even matters much, I don't have that much, clout and notoriety quite yet. But, I am building towards that, so, maybe when I'm even more successful and you guys look at these past videos, you'll probably be seeing this now. And in that case, hello. But the people that I watch tell you the real and the nitty gritty and, the parts that these success brands don't tell you about when they're trying to sell you this dream and this idea of success, And of course, the lifestyle that we do see of success, we do want to live. But at the same time, what are we giving up for that success? I want to look more into that. I want my channel to be more about that. And I do travel content, so I do find fulfillment in traveling and getting to know more people and more lifestyles, getting to see more and experience more, not just, the successful parts, but, the parts that, are a little more third world country-ish, that's not to say, I forget if Romania or Ukraine are third world countries, but growing up, those were the countries that you feel like those were the village type countries, and now we know more that isn't quite exactly what it appears to be, and I only got that knowledge and that education through travel. Once you get yourself out there more and you experience more, you do realize that there's more to this world that actually is told to us in our education system, And where it feels like in America, success is measured in dollars, in Europe, success is measured in life. I remember way back when, I think either middle school, they were already telling us about, trying to get a career and start up a business. And, they were pushing, those ideologies and, you know, trying to give us the keys and, you know, those little seeds. They were sowing the seeds of, you know, being an entrepreneur very early on. But it almost felt like when they gave us that info so young, and they kept on pushing that, you know, sort of agenda on us, the more I was sort of just letting that information like go into my ears, not really listening, the more I felt like I didn't really want to pursue such a life, you know. You know, the more you're told to do something, the less you want to do it. It's like when you're washing the dishes, or you're about to wash the dishes, and then your parents come up to you and they're like, yo, wash those dishes. And then you're like, all right, I don't really want to wash the dishes anymore. You know, I was going to do it anyway. I was going to do it on my own volition. But now that you told me to do it, I don't really want to do it. And I think that, you know, that's like the miscommunication that I feel like the American education system tries to convey to their students, but really doesn't get that messaging quite through. And, you know, I think I equivocate that to living in New York all the time. You know, I'm always walking around seeing this success around me, seeing all this luxury around me, all these tall skyscrapers and buildings. You know, just look around me right now, like, when you see these types of things all the time, you sort of become desensitized, you know. You know, when it's right in front of you, you feel like it's always gonna be there for you. And, you know, that's not always the case when it comes to, you know, building your success as an entrepreneur or building your businesses. And now I'm sort of getting my grind right now. You hear that horn. But I'm gonna be showing you guys something that I've been working on for, you know, quite a while now. You know, there's things that I'm working on behind the scenes that are coming to fruition now. I'd like to show you guys some insight on that pretty soon. So I had to switch here to my phone camera because my usual video camera just ran out of batteries. But, you know, maybe I could finish the rest of this video like this. But yeah, my ability to say all this to you today should be proof enough for you guys that, you know, you don't always have to be grinding for that success. And, you know, the median age for this kind of success, as I said in the last video, was 35. So if you aren't quite 35, maybe you're pushing 35, maybe the people in their early 20s are already calling you Unc, which is hilarious because, you know, it's sort of, you know, when you know, those people that are in their early 20s that call you Unc, just as a way to like kind of put you down, is kind of funny because, you know, late 20s is still kind of young. So, you know, as you know, represented by, you know, the statistics, you know, 35 is the median age of the success here, and success isn't even that high of a bar. It's 120K a year, and, you know, the optics of that in itself, if you don't look at it too often, you probably think, you know, the bar of success is, you know, millionaire status, which, you know, couldn't be further from the truth. You know, most people who are succeeding are just making, you know, 120K, and that's in New York. You know, the epitome of success in America. So, you know, it's when you kind of look at things for what they are, things are kind of, you know, blown out of proportion nowadays. You know, people like to hyperbolize things, it seems, and, you know, kind of like sort of doesn't give us a clear perception of what the truth is. And, you know, that I think that's why people don't want to look at the truth as often as, you know, say I look at the truth very often. And when you actually break down, you know, the parameters and the factors of success, you know, it's not as hard to achieve as people make it out to be. You know, when people call you Unc or, you know, an old head in your late 20s is, you know, laughable. You know, even when I'm in my late 20s, I'm still 27, but I'm pushing 30. So I already call myself 30 years old. So that's when, so as a way when I actually, actually do come to the realization that I'm not 30 yet. Is I'm sort of like it puts me in a way in the mood that I'm actually farther ahead than I actually put myself to actually be. That, I don't know if what I said made sense to a lot of you, but looking at the statistics of the people that watch my content thus far, it probably hit home for a few of you. But yeah, I think I'm gonna cut this video right here. If you guys related to something that I said in this video so far, please let the masses know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Is success for you what you think everyone else thinks success is? Have you already reached that pinnacle of success in your eyes? And yeah, leave a subscribe if you vibe with my content. And yeah, let me know if you guys like the city videos. I like to go out in the city more often to show you guys more views. But just let me know. And hope you guys have a good day.